I'm telling you this right now. If we go to war with Iran, I'm not dying for Israel. I'm not going to serve in the military. I'm not going to serve in the army. I'm not dying for Netanyahu. I'm not dying for anybody who's a Jew. I'm not dying for Donald Trump. I'm not dying for neither congressman or congresswoman that's showing support for Israel. It's not happening. Send all the congressmen and congresswomen on the battlefield since they love Israel so much. Let them fight and die for Israel. Let Netanyahu fight and die for his own country. Let the Israel military fight and die for their own country. This is Israel battle and Israel's battle alone. America and Donald Trump needs to stay the fuck out of this.
Israel's dragging us into World War III. I'm not dying for Israel. You half-wits do realize that if Iran was successful in creating a nuclear weapon and then used that nuclear weapon to attack Israel, that the United States would be obligated to respond both morally and strategically, right? So what Israel did, which is target Iran's nuclear facility and eliminate heads of the IRGC, that's actually preventing a broader war and a greater regional conflict from breaking out. Israel's doing what has to be done to keep a nuclear Iran and a greater conflict off the table, which prevents direct US involvement and boots on the ground. This is deterrence in action, and it is buying the entire world more time.
I may do it, I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago?
Israel always assumes that America has its back, period. That has been the risk that some American presidents have said exists if Israel was to go through with a strike that could have unintended consequences because American forces, they assume, will back them up. That's that sort of concern about something spiraling here. But Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has been arguing this time it is different.
Imagine if Iran bombed Washington, D.C. Do you think that would make us more likely to negotiate with them and give them what they want? Nobody thinks that, other than morons like Donald Trump. We're like, okay, you might be right, Netanyahu.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
United States to go to war with Iran on behalf of Israel. We can't make the same mistake that we did in Iraq. We should not go to war in Iran on behalf of Israel. If Israel wants to go to war with Iran, they should do it themselves without our military support, and that includes taxpayer dollars. Go do it on your own. Go ahead and enlist, baby girl. Go do your thing. But leave America out of it. Our men and women in our armed forces shouldn't die on behalf of your country, period.
Mutually assured destruction is what world powers call it when you have two countries, two superpowers with nuclear weapons. They call it this way because if it basically means if one country, one nuclear country was to send their missiles one way, it is mutually assured that the other country will send their missiles back. Now, this makes world and global politics very interesting. It's one of the main reasons why Russia and America have never been in an all-out war, because they know that if one country starts to get into a position where they are going to lose, then they are going to send their entire nuclear arsenal over to the other country. Now, this is very important when it comes to the current ongoing situation with Iran and Israel. It's very important because Israel has nuclear weapons, Iran does not. Now, there has been a massive, for many years, a massive push by the Western world to ensure that Iran never gets those missiles. In fact, Donald Trump and many other people in the US government have all said that if Iran gets nuclear weapons, it will be the end of everything. Israeli leaders have said the same thing. If Iran gets the missiles, it will be the end of the world. I believe the real reason they do not want Iran to have missiles, nuclear weapons, is because Iran will then be a part of that mutual assured destruction pact. And it would make things very difficult for Israel because they can no longer get the United States to back them in anything to do with Iran, because United States will now know above all that Iran has the nuclear capabilities, and they will never interact or do anything against the country with that. Like I said, with Russia and Ukraine is at war. The real reason America, who makes billions of dollars off war. The real reason they have not sent men over there the same way they did in Iraq or Vietnam or any other place is because Russia has nuclear capabilities and they do not want to risk nuclear weapons going to the United States, because at the moment there is no real deterrent to stop a nuclear weapon. Not even United States really has the capabilities to be able to stop a nuclear weapon getting all the way to America and basically causing destruction. They have no way to stop it. So the Israelis will understand this. So if Iran was to get into a position where they get nuclear weapons, then the whole politics within the Middle East changes. Israel can no longer get America to back them up, and they themselves will have to ease off their pressure on Iran because they will know, again, the mutually assured destruction. They will understand it. This will mean that Iran could become a powerhouse in the Middle East, not just politically or militarily wise, but also economically, because again, people would have to ease off them. And a lot of Americans now, of course, are talking about it. You've seen it in the videos. They are talking about it. They are split 50-50. A lot of people, a lot of Americans are saying they don't want to go to Iran and fight in another pointless war for a government that doesn't care for them, especially if they're going thousands of miles away from home just to fight for another country. Like, to them, it makes no sense. On the other hand, you have those in favor saying that they have to go over there and they have to do this and do that. But it's basically the American people seem to be against it, but the Israeli Americans seem to be for it, and the American politicians seem to be for it also. And of course, the politicians are the most important when it comes to deciding. And Donald Trump has said if Iran attacks any type of American base, then they will, in full force, get involved. And that's a very bad thing to say, because it is very easy to self-sabotage yourself by saying that, because all you would have to do, if you want somebody to join your side in a war, all you have to do is attack their base and blame it on the enemy. So to come out and say that if any of your bases is going to be attacked, you will join, is a very not good thing to say, because you have just told somebody who wants you to join them how to make you join them. So there's a lot of things. Trump went there. He wanted to make a deal. Apparently the deal failed. He couldn't get that deal across the line. So I don't know what he offered them, but that deal did not work. Now it looks like, I don't know, it looks like could war be happening? Who knows? But there is a lot of people talking. There's a lot of people talking about the double standards, you know, how one side can do this, one side can do that, double standards of saying, well, how come America, how come Israel, how come Britain, how come all these other countries can have nuclear weapons, but the rest of the world cannot have them? You know, it really makes you think. It makes a lot of people, you know, question that. It makes a lot of people question, you know, the authority that a lot of these countries are seemingly have against the rest of the world. A lot of American politicians are saying that America should wipe these countries off the map, that America should do this, Britain should do this. Britain itself, the Prime Minister, sent a lot of jets across there. They are saying that they will defend Israel at any cost. You know, Britain has old people dying, you know, freezing in their own homes because they can't afford to keep the power on. They can't afford to keep the electricity on. And for them to turn on the TV and hear the Prime Minister say, we're going to perhaps spend billions, you know, defending another country rather than, you know, defending its own people and giving them better lives, they would rather go and, you know, do whatever. and Britain militarily are not in a good position. They're not in the position they was. They do not have a large armed forces. They don't. Their numbers are very, very, very low. They don't have a lot of military equipment. They don't have a lot of high-end equipment. Don't get me wrong, they have very high-end equipment. They don't have enough of it to be getting into world politics in the way that they are, saying we're going to send this, we're going to send that. They don't have enough. They're not the superpower they used to be in the 1800s, the early 1900s. They are not the superpower, the global power they used to be. And they should not be on any sort of stage saying they're going to get involved in this or they're going to get involved in that. America, also, they are very, very stretched thin. Do they really want to get into another full-blown war, especially when their country is probably as divided as it will ever be? Do they really want to get into another pointless war? I think, like I say, Trump, he tried to make that deal. Maybe even he sees it as something that will be very pointless for the Americans. He rather looks at things on a business perspective more than a political one. So he will always look at what's best for business, and he probably looks at this as not being good for it. He has always been a one to try to keep them out of wars. It's been kind of one of his big selling points for his political career. So if he gets into one, it really could harm his political career also. But like I say, the Israelis, people like that, they are pushing heavily for this attack to happen, for this thing to happen. They are adamant that Iran is like this big whatever. But it's also good to know that in the 1980s, something like that, Israeli Prime Minister, he said that Russia needs to be destroyed because if we destroy them, this big threat, and if we destroy them, world peace will happen. He did this in a big congress as well, like world stage. He talked about it he was trying to convince the world leaders like America and all that. He said it then he said it after that, world peace didn't happen. He said it about Iraq, we have to attack Iraq. World peace will happen if we do that. And then he said it again, and now he's saying it about Iran also. So it's going to be interesting. After Iran, who are they going to say next? Who's it going to be next? Who are they going to say, hey, if we take this country out, world peace will happen? The reality is world peace is never going to happen so long as these people who benefit and take mass amounts of wealth from wars happening, world peace will never happen. Wars make money. And these type of people, they fund both sides and they make profits off both sides. So there's a lot of people, like I say, talking, they're for it, they're against it. But Trump, like I say, he has said he will send troops, he will put boots on ground if he has to against Iran. Now, I don't know about you, but Donald Trump in the 70s, 60s, I can't quite remember, he was drafted to fight in Vietnam and he refused to go. So he refused in his prime, in his youth, when he was at his strongest, he refused to go and fight in the Vietnam War. Now, a lot of Americans, a lot of young Americans, a lot of young kids, a lot of young teenagers were forced without a choice to go to Vietnam, and a lot of them didn't come back. Now, that same man will tell your sons, your brothers, whatever, to once again go to the deserts, go to the Middle East, and a lot won't come back. All for a man who, when he was in his youth, refused. So that should tell you something. When the elites, when they don't want to go there, all these people pushing the narrative of let's start this war, they will not go to those battlefields. They will not be in those trenches. They will not be freezing to death. They will not be getting heat stroke. They will not be dug in some trench, seeing the worst horrors that humanity could ever see. They will be far away in their comfort, in their homes, tucking into wine and steak, until eventually they do what they was always going to do and talk to the other leaders and come to sort of peace agreement. That's all it is. So like I say, this war, will it happen? Will it not? A lot of people are talking, a lot of people are not happy, a lot of people are happy. We will see in the next coming days. But again, there is no need for such conflicts anymore. It is holding humanity back. Humanity is in a position now where they could really thrive. They could really excel in a lot of things. But unfortunately, a lot of world leaders still want to live on the days of old. They want to live on the days of profiteering of wealth. They want to control the masses by doing this. So, but humanity could be in such a great place right now. But it seems if people want war, the politicians will always want it, and they will always get it because they make money from it. But anyway, this has been Reaction Calls. I will see you in the next video. Peace.